Summit in Bali. Now, earlier today, Indonesian President Joko Widodo officially opened the G20 summit that is set to be held until tomorrow in Nusa Dua, Bali. Widodo, in his remarks, emphasized the involvement of G20 in finding solutions to several world problems. All right, and for the latest updates, we are now connected with Arya Siddhartha in Nusa Dua, Bali. Good morning, Arya. All right, Arya, who are the attendees of the first day of the summit?
All right, so previously this morning saw the arrivals of many of the heads of states and the official delegations for the G20 summit. Those that have arrived today, all of them, of course. Now we have the arrivals include the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and also UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Turkish President Erdogan, also the Russian Prime Minister, Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs, of course, Lavrov, and French President Macron. Presidents of China, Xi Jinping, and also the U.S. President Joe Biden. Now, of course, the agenda for today will be the session on food and energy security. Now, of course, the heads of delegations are currently holding a closed meeting. The session is now closed, so the press are not privy to the contents of the session. But during the opening remarks, President Jokowi did speak about the importance of having this food security. Now, interesting thing to note during the speech, the two members of his cabinet that sat right beside him and in frame were the ministers of Foreign Affairs, Retno Marsudi, and also Finance Minister Sri Mulyani. Now, of course, women empowerment has been a key issue that has been discussed in several G20 side events throughout the year, and having Indonesia's two highly decorated, highly accomplished female ministers front and center during the summit's opening meetings is a clear signal to how seriously Indonesia this issue. Now, with regards to the meeting currently being held, now it will be, again, as I've mentioned, in regards to one of the G20 priority agendas, namely food and energy security. Now, of course, the agenda will revolve around tackling the pressing issues of hunger and malnutrition. The past year has been on a slippery slope because essential food distribution chains were disrupted in the wake of the Russia-Ukraine war, two of the largest wheat exporting countries in the world. Currently, a deal that would allow Ukraine to export wheat through the Black Sea is being discussed, but both parties have yet to come to an agreement. Now, hopefully, the issue will be resolved here during the G20 summit, as the Russian representatives of the Russian government are here. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres have previously mentioned that he hopes to resolve the issue during the summit. The US will also undoubtedly press Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on that exact issue. However, in regards to the Indonesia's G20 presidency itself, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres did speak on the Indonesia presidency in a press conference yesterday, and he spoke very highly about how Indonesia has handled itself during the presidency. Here's what the UN Secretary General had to say in regards to that.
Context in which the geopolitical divides have reached the climax, Indonesia has demonstrated an enormous capacity to bring parties together, to promote dialogue, and to try to push for solutions. I am also very happy that Indonesia will be assuming the presidency of ASEAN in the next year and leading the solution of the dramatic situation in Myanmar.
So that was the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Indonesia's presidency of G20. Now, of course, another working session will be conducted today during the G20 summit, namely surrounding the issue of health infrastructure. And for more updates we'll deliver more updates regarding these sessions as the summit continues. Back to you.
Now, Arya, As we know, this will be a long day, actually a long 2 days for the delegates. Will there be any chance for a show, an event, or perhaps a way to also showcase Indonesia's culture?
Right. So, of course, it is going to be a long day. There's lots of the G20 delegates will be hard at work doing these 2 working sessions. But thankfully, after all of the issues have been discussed and all of the working sessions have been done, the delegates will be invited to the Garuda Wisnu Kencana Cultural Park for a grand show, a dinner, plus musical performances and dance performances. We actually saw the practice for these performances, and all I've got to say is that the delegates are in for a show. Back to you.
Maria, my final question to you. What will the discussions be about in the first working session?
So, of course, the first working session, as we previously mentioned, will be surrounding food and energy security. Now, energy security will be primarily focused on transitioning current energy sources into more green, renewable energy. Now, a lot of the discussions in the past have involved major players in the energy sector, including companies such as Pertamina, who have been showcasing their efforts to move away from energies and the industry that are causing large-scale carbon emissions and into alternative green renewable energies that are going to reduce carbon emissions, and they're aiming for net zero carbon emissions by 2030. Now, of course, other than that, food security is a big issue, as I've mentioned before. The global food distribution chains have been in disarray in the past year due to the Russia-Ukraine war, and a lot of the discussions will primarily be based around that and how Russia and Ukraine can come through with a deal that allows the export of wheat to come back to normal.
All right. Ari Siddhartha reporting live from Nusa Dua, Bali. Thank you very much for your report. And those were the C-Today updates for now. We'll have more for you later on at 12 noon. Until then, I'm Bruce Bond. Thank you for watching.